Good to talk to you, man. It's good vibe, good energy.
Well, first off, appreciate the time today. Like, talk to us up in here in Maine is crazy. So we really appreciate it. I've done
I'm
a
happy to do it. I remember, man, I'm sure you, like, I remember coming up to Maine and it being like, you know, the first time, like, really introducing hip hop to an audience out there, like,
man.
at a gymnasium.
You're jumping ahead on my questions. I got that.
Okay. Okay, cool. That's
No,
funny.
but I want to talk about that because that whole performance is on YouTube and it's epic.
Yeah, it's so funny, man. Like, that was an amazing moment. Amazing moment.
So congrats on the new album. Congrats on the
Thank you.
single that's out right now. We've been playing it.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you. It feels good, man. It's exciting. You know what I'm saying? Me and Emma had a good time doing it. You know what I'm saying? Good vibes, good energy. Feels good, man. You know what I mean?
You started off by saying, "Do you remember the first time you heard the Legend in Leather?"
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you like my first experience with you.
Okay.
I was 12 years old. I got the All World, that was the greatest hits album, as a gift. And then I went back and I don't know if you remember, like Columbia House was like this mailer thing that they
I
had.
don't remember that.
So I went back. I was underage without my mom's permission, and I filled it out and got all the back catalog for LL Cool J, sent to the house, and then she had to get me out of that contract with Columbia House and be like, he was 12 years old. He shouldn't be signing up for this stuff.
That's funny. Now I remember putting out All World. I remember, that being the first greatest hits record and kind of just at that time, it was such a milestone moment. You know what I'm saying? I remember us debating the photo. Like, it's funny. It's really funny.
Congrats on the career has been incredible. Pretty impressive stat that you just had. First and only hip hop artist to chart a Billboard entry in each of the last 5 decades, which is insane.
Yeah, man, like I can't even tell you how strange that is, and how in a good way. I don't mean it like in any kind of like that. It's all positive. It's just so like, when you really love something and you're so passionate about it and you're really enthusiastic about it, I guess things like that can happen because you can never plan that. You just gotta love something so much and keep doing it, and then somehow these kind of things happen. You know what I mean?
So I have a few guesses, but from yourself, what would you attribute to your staying power? How have you been able to do it over 5 decades?
Well, I love it. I love doing hip hop. I love the idea of coming up with new approaches to making a hip hop song, to making a rap record, like in new ways though, and finding out sonic approaches that are creatively and artistically in a real way interesting. Like artists can express themselves through rapping as rappers, but not all rappers or MCs are artists. And putting words together that rhyme doesn't make you an artist. It may make you a rapper, but it doesn't necessarily make you an artist. And so doing a record like Murdergram, I just wanted to create a little bit of separation in terms of the craft. That's why me and M kind of leaned into the craft more on that, as opposed to, and M always does that. He always focuses on the craft. Me, I have a tendency to I do different things within the craft, but in this particular one, I really wanted to focus on the wordplay and focus on the flow and focus on the bars. And I think it's that enthusiasm, man, because when you love something, you're interested in it, you get a deeper knowledge of it, then you believe in it. And that creates that enthusiasm, you know what I mean?
I think what's great about the new album too is like there's different records for different things. Like you mentioned Murdergram for the craft, but then you got the joint with Sweetie, which was more female driven. You got the storytelling on 30 Decembers. You got a spiritual record with Nas, which is crazy. So you're kind of hitting everything on this album.
Yeah, I really wanted to, I didn't want to limit myself. And I wanted to, I felt like one of the things that I wanted to hear more of me personally is songwriting.
Mm-hmm.
See, songs like back in the days, like I had songs like I Need Love and Going Back to Cali, even Mama Should Knock You Out.
Yep.
It was songs. So people, it's like hip hop is everything has gotten so kind of, people are listening with their eyes so much, and everything is so clickbait focused that it's almost like everyone's trying to outswag everyone over the same kind of track in a certain way. And I'm not saying that to be overly critical or judgmental. I'm just talking about it from an artistic standpoint. So it was like, yo, let me just write some songs, man. Let's do some different stuff. Let's experiment. Let's play with some topics. Let's, you know what I mean? Like, just to make it more fun to listen to, you know? So that was really what it was about.
I do want to go back, though. You mentioned the Maine show. We're coming up on the 40th anniversary of that. So
yeah,
it's pretty iconic. The video is up on YouTube. I think like the promoter's son recorded it and put it up there. It was 5 months before radio dropped. You're performing at Colby College in Waterville with Cut Creator. I've heard you talk about it before, but what do you remember from that night being in Maine? I'm sure our listeners are going to get this over that. You were 15, 16 years old in that video?
Yeah, I'm 16. I was 16, about 16 years old, and 16, 17, somewhere in there, about 16. And what it was is that the people in that room had never heard hip-hop.
Right.
So it was probably, I don't know, 20 people in there, 30 people, if that. Some parents who were kind of like, or older people who at that time probably were in their mid-20s, but older people who kind of put the thing together, and then there's some younger kids. And it was just kind of like, I remember having to explain to them what the DJ was doing, the fact that Cut Creator was taking the record and going back and forth and going from, now he's going to scratch, now he's going to make a sound with the record, and actually walking the crowd through what we were doing, and then rhyming and rapping, and them kind of just being kind of puzzled and kind of like they were intrigued and they enjoyed it, but at the same time they were kind of like not sure what was going on, and it was like a very cool moment for us, you know, as a crew, because like me, E-Love, and Cut Creator, because we knew that we had introduced hip-hop to a group of kids that had never heard it, period, and who were really getting in on the ground floor of what would become a cultural phenomenon around the world. So those kids in that gym, who at the time probably felt like they were like the biggest outsiders in the world, in reality were very early in the game. I mean, they were like really early in the game, especially from an on-wax standpoint. So, I mean, it was brand new. I mean, you know, hip-hop hadn't been on wax that long.
Yeah, every time I watch that video, I pick up like something new from like, there's some random break dancers, or just like there's little kids sitting like first cross applesauce on the floor, like staring at you with wide eyes. And
that's what I'm saying, right? It's like that's the part that was the trip, because they were like sitting with their legs crossed looking at it.
Yeah.
Like they were perplexed. Like I started explaining it because they looked confused.
Yeah.
Like I had to, I didn't plan on doing that. I thought we were just going to do a show, but it turned out that nobody knew what we were doing.
Yeah.
And I had to explain it.
You explained that. I also loved when you explained beatboxing and you went into that as well.
So crazy, dude.
You remember like driving away from Colby College that day? I know it's a long time, but do you remember like what the conversation was like with you and your crew, being like, what did we just do?
Oh, yo, we loved it, man. We loved it. As a matter of fact, for a long time, whenever we felt like we were breaking new ground or doing something new, we called it Maine.
Oh,
that was like slang. That was our slang inside the crew. It was like, yo, Maine. It's Maine.
I love that. I love it.
Maine. You know what I mean? Because it was like whenever we did something new, Maine. It was crazy, man. It was dope.
I love it. What advice would you have looking back on that person? 15, 16, you said, performing. What advice would you have for somebody 15, 16 years old as an artist now that's jumping into it, that's just starting?
I would say you have to love it with your heart and soul. You have to learn as much as you can about it, and you have to believe in what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to be generous with the sharing of your gift when it comes to your work ethic, when it comes to putting the music out, when it comes to creating, when it comes to, you know, getting like embracing what you do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to love it, and you can't be lazy, and, you know, and you can't allow frustration or laziness to affect your choices as an artist, which is it's easier said than done when you're out there in the game, for real. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like you're like the blueprint, obviously. But seeing you at this age, putting out another album and doing interviews with people in Maine and working, you talk about work ethic, and like you're running circles around younger kids in this industry.
I love it, man, because you know what? Let me tell you something, man. There's nothing that's more exciting to me. I'm as excited about the idea of my song playing on that station in Maine today as I was about coming up there for a show 40 years ago. Like, I love it that much. I'm that enthusiastic about it because I really, really, truly do it from the soul and from the heart. And I truly and honestly and sincerely believe I was born to do this. Like, I'm not, like, this is not, like, you can't fake your way through 4 or 5 decades.
Right.
You got at a certain point, the gig is, the jig is up, as they say. Like, I really do this and I really love it. And it's just, I love the fact that I'm breaking new ground now, because now what I'm doing is I'm showing people that it's possible to create at a high level for many years and keep creating at a high level and touching people with, I watch, artists like Michael Jackson, and I watch artists like the Rolling Stones, and I watch them perform and create at a high level year after year, decade after decade. And I said to myself, why can't people do that in hip hop? Why can't we, you just have to be curious. You got to care. You got to have new ideas. You can't have an antiquated mindset. You got to have new ideas. You got to be innovative. You got to come up with new and exciting ideas consistently. And if you do that and you execute it right, anything is possible. So here we are. You know what I mean? God is great.
I know we're short on time, but I do want to talk about Murdergram before you go, and the collab with Eminem. And I know he's been a fan. He's, said you're an inspiration, an idol of his. What was it like to finally collab on a song together? And we've been playing the track here on Hot Radio Maine.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites off the album. So what was that collaboration like, and making the video together?
Super dope. Like, we actually, when Q-Tip made the beat, I texted the beat. I actually texted to M. I'm like, yo, check this out real quick. He listened to it. He hit me right back, like an hour, whatever. And he was like, yo, I'm feeling it. Let's do it. I said, all right, cool. We actually set up the time in L.A. He was going to be, we did it at Dr. Dre's studio in L.A.
Mm-hmm.
Me and M went in the studio. I would rap, say my part, and then in he'd be in another room, then he would come in, rap, do his part. Yeah, I'd be in another room, and we like went back and forth. We never watched each other in the booth until the very, very end of the song, when we started going back and forth. And then we started talking about the video, and like we had all these different concepts and this and that. And then one day we just got on the phone and was like, yo, let's just do a hip hop video. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just keep it simple, and yo, we can maybe bring the covers to, bring the album covers, because he started talking about tangos and this and that. I'm like, yo, and we just kind of talked it through and ended up, along with Jake the Shooter, coming up with this idea of just bringing these album covers to life and really celebrating hip hop in a big way and doing what we are truly fans of and what we really love. And that's what we did.
And I think you gave fans what they wanted from you guys, like lyrical, back and forth, a great song for the sport of it all, if you will,
100%. It's like a guitar solo. It's like Van Halen or Hendrix or, a great guitarist. So it's like Zach Brown on that violin, on that fiddle, it's just like tearing it up, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, that's what we want to do,
So I got one last question I ask everybody. Maine State motto is the way life should be. So in LL Cool J's own words, what's the way life should be?
I think you should have a dream, and you should go after it and make it come true. That's the way life should be.